All right, so here's part 2 of my syllabus discussion, foregrounding specifics that I'd like you to make sure that you're paying attention to and thinking about, especially if you have questions. In the last video at the very end, I went through the discussion forum, kind of giving you the aerial view. Remember, there's an assignment sheet that will be posted in Module 2 of that particular assignment. I've also given you several screenshots from a discussion thread, a very successful discussion thread from last summer. So you'll have that also in Module 2 as a guiding kind of prompt for you. Let's move on though to colloquies. A colloquy, it's nothing more than a formal conversation for which you plan, often working in tandem with others, and then enact. Our class is going to convene for 2 colloquies in face-to-face and or online arenas. There's going to be an assignment sheet and rubric for each, which include working with your assigned work group to conduct a recorded podcast-style conversation that you then share, and meeting in a traditional face-to-face seminar fashion to discuss ideas that each seminarian will post online. So again, each colloquies assignment sheet and the rubric is posted in the appropriate module, and you're going to upload the work for each colloquy to an appropriate thread within the module. So that's where that's going to be located. Your projects, let's move on to that. In both projects, you're going to work individually to create, research, respond to, and or write. You'll submit your finished product to the appropriate Dropbox. Like colloquies, each project has an assignment sheet and a rubric for evaluation located in the appropriate module of study. One note here is that I assign the second project during Module 4, even though it is not due until Module 5, and I do that in an effort to give you more time for research, drafting, and should you choose, getting my response prior to submission of the final product on July 22nd. So again, each of these small paragraphs, I hope, function to give you an overview of the type of assignments that you can expect in our class, and also inform you where you're going to be turning in that work, as well as giving you the information about where assignment sheets that become much more specific and granular are located, and of course also the rubrics that accompany them. I do want to talk about those rubrics very briefly as we're continuing forward with talking about the work in our class. Each assignment is paired with a holistic rubric, wherein students, you earn grades in several areas. I post each alongside its assignment in the appropriate module, as I've said a few times. Each of the earned grades in each area of a module is averaged with the others, and that average then becomes the grade earned for the assignment. I ask you to please examine each rubric carefully as you acquaint yourself with its companion assignment, and always ask questions via email, office hours, or schedule appointment face-to-face or virtual. Finally, in areas where there are duplications of an assignment, as there will be with the forums, the rubric is used 5 times and then grades are averaged together. The average then becomes the grade for that particular percentage of the overall course grade. So for discussions, you'll get this rubric applied several times. Each of those grades is averaged, and that then becomes the percentage earned in that area of the course. Required format. Of course, we're going to use MLA format and documentation in our class. I give you a refresher link not only in the Module 1, but also in assignment sheets. So that way you have some models to go with. I'll let you read late work and makeup work on your own, and of course the introduction here to modules and module overview. I did want to make certain that I touch upon here these aerial views of the tasks you'll complete in each module. Note, these are not objectives for each module, so they're not learning outcomes, but rather they are the tasks that you're going to want to complete. They mirror, this kind of aerial view of each mirrors the checklists that you'll see. Because our course is not self-paced and you don't have the ability to go through each and every checklist at the very beginning here, providing you with an aerial view of each and the tasks associated with the module can help you as you're beginning to ponder how this 8 weeks is going to lay out and how you can chart your course best. So I'll just go through a couple of them. For example, right now we're in Module 1, and this is part of Module 1, what you're listening to. So you'll be reading the welcome letter. You should have already done that, reading the syllabus twice, the second time while watching this video. You'll be reading through the resource links. You'll take a syllabus quiz. You'll read that secondary article related to empathy and identity formation. You'll introduce yourself, and of course, you'll email me with any questions or concerns. So again, that lays out the tasks for completion. Module 2 through 5, I've also done this here to give you again this aerial view of the kinds of tasks you're going to need to complete. Very important as well would be the time constraints you're working in, right? So for example, June 2nd at midnight through June 15th at 11:59 is Module 2, and all of the work, all of the tasks rather that I list here have to be completed within this particular span of time. So keep that in mind. I do want to talk, therefore, about workload a bit. Summer classes present challenges because of time constraints. 8-week summer graduate seminars have to cover the same amount of work as is typically completed during a 15 or 16-week semester. Thus, summer online graduate classes can offer us more challenges to overcome creatively, since the bulk of your work, reading, annotating, discussing, and composing, requires you to be a self-starter. Your commitment to complete focus, responsible engagement, and striving for your own intellectual growth is vital. If you struggle, your commitment to obtaining my help is also an imperative. Luckily, the bulk of the reading for this class is for adolescents, so you're not going to struggle to complete these easier, sometimes shorter works alongside a few scholarly pieces. We do have a great deal of material to read and discuss together, though, so staying on track should be a primary goal, or as my own adolescent students have said, from the get. In short, woe betide the student who falls behind during our 8-week slog towards YA dominance. This is the 3rd time I'm teaching this course online in the summer, and I adore it and all of its many components and all of the new things I learn every single year. One truth, however, that has come to the surface time and time again is that students who are not actively engaged, who are not logging on at least once a day, often multiple times a day, who are not finishing the work, who get behind even for a couple of days, struggle to catch up and struggle to do well. It's incredibly easy to get behind in an online course, and in a graduate course, getting behind is fatal. You already know this, many of you, so I want you to keep this in mind and really weigh whether or not this kind of learning environment is going to work for you and if you'll be able to keep up with the various components. Okay, a couple more things here to go through before I end. Policies and procedures for this class. Of course, you've seen this before. University-wide policies can be found at this particular link. I do ask you to click on it and read through them. They apply to every single class here at the university. They range from talking about credit hour rules all the way to plagiarism. The next thing, and this is something that will concern you on a consistent basis, is netiquette, which deals with communication and rules for communicating productively in an online environment. I give you some guidelines, which I love, that are from San Diego Community College's Distance Learning Division. And so I do ask you to read through these carefully as you're considering ways in which you are corresponding with your peers. Physical and virtual attendance. As announced on BandWeb, via email and in the course advertisement, we meet face-to-face twice Make every possible effort to attend these classes to avoid losing credit opportunities, especially the second one. Should there be a significant barrier to attending either of these sessions, schedule an appointment with me to discuss it right away. In some cases, there could be a solution. In some, there might not be. One of the benefits of an online course environment is that you can log in at virtually any time. During our 8-week semester, I cannot imagine a scenario in which you do not log in at least once per day to check for new discussion posts, to check your email, to read the announcements. And I make use of the statistics tool in CourseDen to measure reading and responding activity so I can see how much you've read, what you haven't read. Should I note that you're not often logging into our classes page and or that online absence correlates with missed or poor work, I will invite you to an online or face-to-face conference to discuss any problems you might be having with online learning. And that's all in an attempt always to help you find resolutions for betterment. I've had to have only a couple of these in the past few years, but in each moment, I was able to work with the student to figure out ways to ameliorate, ways to get better at the performance. I do ask you to read through office hours and discussion. Remember my office hours, I've listed them at the top, my virtual office hours. And of course, I welcome face-to-face appointments as well, also phone and Skype in different ways, especially if you live far away. I'll let you read the rest on the Title IX rules. And that takes us to the end of this document, again, that acts kind of as our policies and procedures, as well as giving you an aerial view and going through some of the specifics about the work in the class. So now you're probably ready to turn towards either emailing me with additional questions or introducing yourself if you haven't already done that, and most assuredly so, reading that supplemental article that lays out some of the, I don't know, we might call it a gestalt, sort of a pattern that I really want us to consider as we're reading our works, most of which are from the realistic genre of YA that is all the rage now with young adults, publishers, teachers, and parents. So let's now turn to that work as we're finishing up this orientation and introduction forum. Thanks for listening, you guys. And again, remember, if you have questions, look at these documents first, but also feel free to send me an email in CourseDen. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.